You know that feeling, right? You go to open an app, then maybe a website, then you try to get on your work chat and nothing. Just nothing works. It feels like the entire internet just decided to take the day off. Well, what's crazy is that sometimes a huge piece of it actually is broken, all because one service in one place is having a really, really bad day.
Yeah, after a big outage not too long ago, a user on Reddit just laid it out this bluntly. And look, it sounds dramatic, but it absolutely captures that feeling. A single hiccup at a massive cloud provider like Amazon Web Services, specifically in one of their giant data center clusters they call a region, can start a domino effect that knocks over countless services that we all rely on every single day.
I mean, it feels like we hear about these huge outages every couple of months, doesn't it? If everybody knows how bad this is, why are we stuck in this loop? So, let's get into it, because there's a really fascinating story here about a perfect plan and, well, a much messier reality.
So, to figure out what's going wrong, we first have to understand what right even looks like. And believe it or not, there's literally an official rulebook for building systems that are designed not to break down like this.
It's called the AWS Well-Architected Framework, and it's pretty much the blueprint from Amazon themselves on how to build strong, dependable applications in the cloud. You can think of it as the industry's official guide on how to prevent these digital disasters before they ever happen.
At its heart, the framework is just a big collection of best practices. It's everything AWS has learned over the years from seeing what works and, more importantly, what doesn't when it comes to surviving failures. So the knowledge on how to stop these outages? Oh, it definitely exists. This quote, which is right in the framework, just nails the whole philosophy. It's not enough to just hope your system is reliable. You have to build automated systems, what he calls mechanisms, that basically force it to be reliable right from the start. So what do these so-called mechanisms actually look like?
Okay, so the framework is packed with great advice, but there are a few key ideas that are specifically designed to stop the exact kind of massive outage we've been talking about.
The first, and maybe the most important rule, is fault isolation. The idea is super simple. Don't let a small fire burn down the entire forest. You have to build walls.
And a perfect way to do that is with something called a cell-based architecture. Think of each cell here like a watertight compartment on a ship. If one cell springs a leak and fails, the damage is contained. The other cells just keep chugging along, and the whole ship, the whole service, stays afloat. It might be a little slower, but it's still working. Now, you can take that same idea and go even bigger with what's called a multi-region failover strategy. So your app is running in an active region, let's say on the US East Coast. At the same time, you're constantly copying everything over to a passive region, maybe on the West Coast. If the entire East Coast region goes down, you just flip a switch and all your users get sent to the West Coast. Boom! Disaster averted. And hey, even when something does go wrong, the ideal is to have a response plan that's already set in stone. An alarm goes off, the right people get notified, and they follow a pre-written playbook to fix the problem. It's supposed to be a calm, systematic process, not some chaotic, all-hands-on-deck emergency. Okay, so here's the million-dollar question. If this perfect, well-documented blueprint for success exists, why do we keep seeing these headlines about huge chunks of the internet going down? Why aren't people just, following the rules? And this right here is where the perfect plan just smacks right into the wall of reality. The framework says you should run your service in multiple geographic regions for maximum safety. But then a sysadmin on Reddit comes in with the hard truth. Doing that means you're basically doubling your costs. And a lot of customers just aren't willing to foot that bill.
This one question from that Reddit thread just sums up the entire problem perfectly. When they say nines, they're talking about uptime percentages. So 99.9% is 3 nines. 99.999% is 5 nines. Every extra 9 you add makes your service more and more reliable, but it also gets exponentially more expensive and complicated to build.
So, at the end of the day, reliability isn't just a tech decision. It's a business decision. It's this constant negotiation. You've got the tech teams who want to build an indestructible fortress, and you've got the business and finance teams who have to look at the budget and decide, okay, how much indestructibility can we actually afford? So when we see one of these massive outages, what we're really looking at isn't just a technical glitch. It's the end result of 1,000 little business decisions and trade-offs that were made over months or even years.
And that brings us to the most important takeaway of all this. Uptime is not the default, being reliable is a feature. And just like any other feature, like a new button or a cool animation, it has to be prioritized, it has to be designed, it has to be built, and ultimately, it has to be paid for.
So why do so many companies accept this risk? Well, it usually comes down to three things. First, this stuff is complex. It's hard to build and manage. Second, it's really expensive to have double the computers just sitting around waiting for a disaster that might never happen. And finally, there's always this huge business pressure to get new features out the door fast, and sometimes building that perfect, resilient system just takes a back seat to speed.
All of this leaves us with a much bigger, kind of philosophical question. The original internet was designed to be this decentralized network that could literally survive a nuclear attack. But today, huge parts of it are concentrated on just a handful of massive cloud platforms. It's made things incredibly convenient and efficient for sure, but every time one of these outages happens, we get a little reminder of the trade-off we've made. Have we accidentally traded away resilience in our search for convenience?